That's James. I'm Tabitha. Welcome to Organic, Free Range Human Thoughts, which are getting more organic by the day. Today, James is going to do something that I need next week.
Ugh.
He's going to tell us how to handle moving while working for yourself.
You stare off into the void. It's like one more coat of paint. Super question. Yeah, no. Packing all your life into boxes and shipping it someplace and trying to keep people reasonably happy with what you're doing. Always fun. Please, I should push that back to you since you're doing it too. How are things holding up?
I guess one of the things, since I'll be working on the road,
Mm,
was like, I'm a big I'm a penny pincher. And so I hate whenever I have to buy stuff for like specific reasons. And I'm like,
mm,
I'm going to be traveling. And so I had to invest in stuff specifically for travel, which I'm going to show it and it gives me the ick. But this super tiny keyboard, it's like the size of my head, a travel keyboard and a travel
mm,
mouse was something that I had to buy specifically so I have it elevated. If you don't elevate your laptop, what are you doing
mm.
with your life? But
Sitting
things
on
like
an air
that.
mattress in your vacant bedroom, trying to balance it on your knees.
That's
Have
one
meaningful
way to do it. But James is moving, so he has an excuse. I'm gonna be just piling books everywhere because apparently that was something I decided I would need while I was traveling is a pile of books.
Sure.
But buying things like the keyboard and everything, of course I do web design and social media content. So I need to be more the little keypad is not gonna cut it. And then I also got this guy. This is like a little tech organizer so you
Cool.
can not break your stuff whenever you travel, which is also nice to not open your bag and you're like, oh, I love that I just broke everything inside of it. Like important things I learned the hard way, backpacks. I have the little laptop compartment.
Mhm.
Backpack compartment needs to be elevated, like a suspended, or else you drop your laptop into it and it drops right onto the floor and cracks. You're welcome.
There you go. Your travel tips for the day. So how are you balancing the time aspects of it? Because I think for me, that's been the most ridiculous part is trying to manage people moving my stuff and fixing the house and still getting emails from people who are like, you owe us work. What are you doing?
I I still have my whiteboards up, which I
Mm.
have everything categorized by like what I need to do per person per day. As well as I also have this nifty guy that hasn't been packed. And since I'm doing it myself, I hope I said that loud enough that my teenager could hear. Really like narrowing down what rooms I am packing that
Mm.
day, but also the hard factor of is this something that I need in life? Like, really? Because apparently I have a lot of stuff that I mean, I think we already talked about like my weird tree branch collection. Like,
But
what
there's
am
some
I doing?
waiting for you, by the way. Julia's picked out some great ones.
Love it. Love it. I even have a tree branch that I have tree branch lights attached to now
Mm.
that didn't
Cool.
even need a tree branch. I, but trying to do all those things, I mean, once a day, I feel like I have like a what the fuck am I doing moment.
Mhm.
But I mean, it has to all get done. And I don't know if I told you, my neighbor moved.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so seeing them get that thing done really quickly, and I mean, of course, they block my driveway by doing it, but I was like, there's motivation. If they can do it, I can
Yeah.
do it too. The bar is on the floor, folks. Like,
And I think for me, that's been an important thing. And I've also been, as I really try to figure out anything that I don't look like a Jabba the Hutt. No, like, how do you balance the needing to get stuff done with wanting to do, like, still do a good job and all of the, like, external pressures of it? You know, I've got neighbors coming over who are like, oh, you're moving. We're going to be sad. And I've got a neighbor who was just like, oh, well, you got to trim the fucking hedge before you leave. Otherwise, we're going to be mad. And, you know, there's just all of those pieces that float together, and I do think it gets very rapidly overwhelming. I'm probably not doing it as gracefully as you are because I'm just getting up earlier and doing all of the paperwork for the day and then, like, working all day on the house and then falling over.
I will say after going without drinking for like 3 years, my anti-alcohol experiment, I was like, "1, I'm gonna go to Oregon, so it's like I need to be able to not show up and have 1 sip of wine fall on the floor." But I have been sampling the Oregon wares already, so
Good.
that has transpired. But yeah, I guess like the first thing you have to prioritize is doing your client work, which is really important. And then you have to, I hate using the word power through because it's so like hustle culture. But this is something no one wakes up and they're like, unless this is your job, which is of moving stuff, then you wake up and you're like, gee willikers. But
I've never met a mover who would have said that unless they were much more stoned than they normally tend to be.
that would be someone I would be very concerned about carrying my fragile stuff. But it's not already, like, the funnest thing. Like, we just hit it stopped raining finally because the cyclone is over, and now we are officially in heat index, like, I think it is
Mhm.
supposed to feel like 122 yesterday. So it's like, think about all the money you're saving on not having to pay for going to a sauna when the earth is your s but, yeah, just having a list of everything we're trying to accomplish that day, and if I get more than that list, I feel really good.
Yeah. I think the other piece that, having moved a lot, that was more helpful for me this time is I did try to prep people for it, right? I let the customers know that I was gonna be less of able for, like, a 2-week period to be accessible, and so far that's gone okay. I do think people either didn't, like, t actually take it in because they're just still a lot, okay, they're just operating as per normal, right? Like, but I gotta go drive 600 miles on Saturday morning. Like, I'm not gonna be available when I would normally just have my phone in front of me while I was watching the World Cup. Like, y'all gotta we gotta help you pump the brakes a little bit because nothing is actually on fire. It just feels that way when things are different.
I feel like the only person that I've had an issue with is actually someone I don't work for, which is the nonprofit that I'm no longer even a member of, that is calling me at 10 PM at night, which that was always a problem because I'm pretty sure the guy that was going to take my place on the board is not going to.
Took one look and decided he had better things to do.
He couldn't even work his phone when he was trying to put in my phone number, and I was like, "No."
That's a good nonprofit board member though, right? You don't want him to be able to, like, access get at you. You just want him to show up once a month and, like, sign a piece of paper.
I'm just like, "This is my one thing that I am the most active at these events." Is there
Yeah.
is just like, "How are you gonna do just take down the website, I guess, and go back to writing checks and everything's physical and you don't have Facebook anymore and you advertise in the newspaper and it's like super like like this was the first time I just word of mouth told people that because we aren't allowed to talk about the open bar, which I feel like is the best. It's not, I don't want to say not allowed. It's just we're supposed to say beverages, and there's a big difference from as many lemonades as you want
Yes.
and as many glasses of wine as you want. Because that ticket price really pays for itself after 2 drinks. So I just that's the only person that doesn't understand, but they've never understood boundaries in general. So
Gotcha. Yeah. Yeah. Then that's when you just don't pick up.
that the board president is also one of my clients, so I can't
Well,
be
there's
like,
that.
"Oh, guys, I'm out of here." So, yeah. But other than
Yeah.
that,
Yeah. No, I think, like, the juggling is tough, and, you know, it's kind of interesting that we're sort of the different ends of, like, the kiddo spectrum on this one too, right? Like, I'm trying to get kiddo enrolled in school. Yours is going off to college, and, like, is successfully, like, over there doing a thing, except apparently they're just not packing now. So, Cyprus!
Left my home. I will say this, I left my own home on Sunday. I was like, fuck this. I'm gone. I am abandoned my mission, like abandoned
Mhm.
my whole life and disappeared for 8 hours to my friend's couch because so the driver's license, my kid has their driver's license now. I paid a lot of money for them to learn how to drive. And you have a set of time that you have to get your permit and, get your license within that time because permits expire.
Mhm.
What did we not do? And then guess who was like decluttering and was like, well, we have a permit. We obviously don't need any of this paperwork. Guess what you need when your permit expires? So retook the adult classes and then the DMV being closed because Earth and I was like, universe, what are you trying to tell me? So those things, and then also trying to get them to like soak up the last of, last high school, this is the last high school summer. This is the beginning of what was it? Euro
The,
trip. I don't
yeah.
want them to have that beginning. Never mind. But, the fun soaking up your friends before you go
Yeah.
play with all the strangers, as well as helping me pack.
No, I think there's, with trying to juggle work stuff and family stuff and all of the pieces, right? Again, here we sit in mostly empty houses trying to continue to make content for, like, the few hundred people who consistently watch it, and the 6 of you who subscribed, that was fucking baller.
Yes. Good job, guys.
People talk about work-life balance as being this, like, I don't know, a lot of people, like, the folks that I talk to, and they try to make it very hard lines, right? Like, work starts and stops. It's the only but life doesn't really, you know? The flexibility that lets you, like, run off in the middle of the day to pick up your kid when they're sick means that, yeah, like, sometimes you gotta just find a little bit of time in the evening or whatever to answer emails, like, provided it doesn't feel like it's eating all of your time, then yeah, but it's still part of your life.
Yeah. And I feel like that is one of my biggest, like, that's my hill that I'll die on is people who
Mhm.
say not only are they separate, but you stop your life. Like so many of my friends are like, well, I'll date whenever my business is doing X. Whenever, and I'm just like, girl, you're going to be in the nursing home. like, but I'm
But hopefully
like,
business as well, so it could be a nice one.
yeah. But I'm just like, there's only so long you can put off life in the meaning of business. And I say this at the same time where I'm like, stop going to Coachella and like focus on your business. I didn't even say Coachella right. So that's how my knowledge is. But it's just, you have to have a balance of those
Yeah,
things and you can't just like one of them.
yeah. Let me, like, yeah, it is you can focus, right, and you can prioritize, but at some point, it has to swing back the other way. Otherwise, why are you doing it? Yeah, no, for the hot minute that I was just shutting down nonprofits last year, uh, yeah, that was all that I did, and there was no offsetting joy that was gonna be, like, helpful, right? And so eventually I just had to stop totally because you can only have a day job golden retrievers for so long. A very kind thing a friend of mine said to me. So, like, went to this really lovely, like, nonprofit association thing. We're all having, like, cocktails. We're talking about how awful everything is after the executive orders, and then I just shut down, like, I think number 9 or 10. And it was a domestic, violence shelter, and when you go through this process, there's always, like, you because they're a nonprofit, you can't divest of all of their stuff the same way that you do as just a normal person, right? You have to find somebody to take it. You have to figure out where things are gonna live, right? You can donate the money, but Oregon was really cool about it and that you could, like, set it aside and let it hang for a little while so that you could come back, right? But yeah, after I think it was, like, number 9 or 10, I'm at this little cocktail thing, and I just started, like, crying a little bit, talking about this and how awful it was to be out. I had to drive 5 hours to shut down a domestic violence shelter, and it was filing paperwork, and I'm trying to help these people, and they're just all really lovely, and they're working so hard, and just, like, everything is fucking awful. But one of the consultants sort of leans over and he's just like, "It's okay. It's okay. There's only so long only so long you can go on golden retrievers for a living. Like, take a break." We go, "Yeah, that's fair." And it sucked real bad. And then I did another 20. So, 'cause I got good at it, and
What you drifted into the what is that movie? Thank You for Smoking? Drifted into that territory of or what's that called?
I was doing work that felt meaningful, and every meeting I had was sad. The balance has to come back the other way at some point. Like, that's the real work-life balance, right? When work is eating your soul, and it was gray, Pacific Northwest. So you'd be like, "There's your here, take your vitamin D reminder."
It was influencer that, like, popped up out of nowhere, and I was like, freaking algorithms spying on you. But it was like, one of the things is, like, you need to embrace that the gray is cozy. And I was like, "Okay, I'll start doing that now."
What do you I've had people asking, "What do you do when it rains?" You just go. Like, do the thing anyway. Just do it and be wet.
I
Get a
need to
better
make
rain jacket.
I need to make it video whenever it feels like 120 something outside and be like, "Remember how miserable this is.
Oh, don't
Remember how bad
you'll
this."
get at least, like, 1 weekend a year that's still we'll get, like, 110, 116. So you'll get a little bit of it, but just a
See,
little.
but that's only just feeling like it. We'll
Yeah,
hit those numbers at some point, like the actual physical number, and then it'll feel
yeah.
so much worse. But yeah, I just and then that's, summer until right after Halloween. So
No, you'll get it is good advice, right? To sort of embrace the cozy of it, right? I wonder, like, to torture the metaphor a little bit, you can sort of extend that into, you know, trying to remember what you like about what you're doing while everything else kind of sucks, right? Like, here prioritizing doing this, right? This is fun. This is like like an important fun bit of my week where I actually get to talk to somebody I really like and hang out and talk about like weird business shit. So making sure that that's a priority, right? Viewing 11:5 pitch decks because people want to know whether or not I think these are good ideas, not as fun. And so we, hmm?
is that but funny though? Sometimes I'm sure.
Do we have any? I don't know. I'm trying to think if I got any weird ones. They really need to have people sign NDAs. I don't think I've had anything like super weird recently. I've had a lot of bad ones. I've had a lot of people just trying to wing it. Lots of people who can't do math well. Yeah. Don't apply to like for venture funding if you think that there's like a $1 billion market for your car wash. Just
They
not a
wa
thing.
they watched that one episode of King of the Hill as a child. They, like, roll around in quarters. That's how I thought you made lots of money. I didn't think that quarters isn't, like, a lot of money.
Yeah.
That's it.
It's even less now.
Yeah, it's nothing. $1 million car wash. I love that. I love that for them.
Well, and like they're talking about like a car wash chain, and they're talking about franchising, and listen, they don't have a bad idea, but they have a very like going down a very well worn path. And when you start to talk about things like total accessible market and, like the amount of money that exists in potentia out in the world, right? It's all made up. We just had the largest ever IPO from a company that was overvalued by at least 50%, according to people who are a lot better at this than me. Like, so there's a certain amount of, yeah, you can like make it up and it's okay, but it does have to be in the realm of like, okay, what's novel about it? and what are other businesses in the same tranche doing with it? I can look at like Mr. Bubble was a thing in Orlando growing up, and it was a chain of car washes.
Oh, I thought you meant the bubble bath. I was like, "Yeah."
Yeah, no, at least, and there were probably like 15 or 16 of them, right? There are other big chains of car washes. What is fundamentally different about what you're doing? And the answer is nothing. And so it's not a great bet, especially, yeah, whatever. But no, like, you go through these things and you gotta make them at least plausible. And then you get some cool ones, right? I saw one from somebody I actually know at a farmer's market who's been selling mushrooms that they grow in their shed, and they want to have an actual mushroom farm. But they do very specific types of medicinal mushrooms for export to Asia, but they also sell them at the farmer's market. And their whole thing is like, I need to grow more because I have these grocery chains and these like pharmaceutical companies in Asia who want to buy more because apparently mine are better. And like that's an interesting piece. Like you know what demand is, you have identified them by name, and know how what to do to get there. Right? You're already doing it to a degree. That's a really investable. They're really the question is why are they selling a piece of the company versus just taking on the debt load and like just borrowing it? And interest rates suck right now for everything. And so yeah, like it's a little bit cheaper to do it that way. The problem is like, are they ever going to try to raise money again? So, but they go into like pile two, which is people we're going to actually talk to.
Good pile to be in.
It's the much smaller pile. Car wash guy did not make it into pile two.